An attack squadron is returning to the carrier. There's a perfect landing. Another pilot comes in. He is guided by the landing signal officer, but only his own skill and steadiness of nerve brings the plane down safely. A crash. Pilot error will be the verdict. But was there anything in the pilot's medical history which made him a bad risk for flying that day? What could the flight surgeon have done to forestall the accident? For it is the responsibility of the Navy Medical Corps to keep as many men at as many guns as many days as possible. These guns, however, are airborne, and that is what makes the Navy flight surgeon's job different. Superimposed on a general medical background must be a new and special kind of knowledge, a knowledge of the effects of flight on the human body. Effects on men flying and fighting at altitudes no other living thing has ever reached, moving with the speed of sound, enduring accelerations never before encountered. To qualify for giving the best of professional care, the doctor brings knowledge gained in medical school and previous experience to the Naval School of Aviation Medicine at Pensacola. Here, a specialized course of training equips him for a challenging career. Under the special conditions imposed by flight, the lungs, circulatory system, and heart all behave in new ways, and the doctor must learn new ways of dealing with them. Eye function raises new problems when high speeds, high altitudes, G-forces, and night flying are involved. Atmospheric physics, partial pressures, oxygen utilization, and associated problems are subjects with which the flight surgeon must become thoroughly familiar, both theoretically and from the most rigorously practical viewpoint. Psychological and psychosomatic factors also get a thorough going over and will play an important role in the future flight surgeon's work. To appreciate the problems of the man who flies, however, there's nothing like doing a little flying yourself. So the student flight surgeon, at the completion of the didactic phase of his schooling, now gets a short course in flying. In ground school, he learns about aircraft engines, aerology, navigation. From dual instruction right up to solo, the student flight surgeon finds out how it feels to be a naval aviator on any given working day. What's more, as an on-the-spot observer, he watches the student naval aviators go through their more thorough and arduous training. The Navy flight surgeon really knows and understands human functioning in aviation by the time he receives his wings at Pensacola. There are half a dozen different types of duty the new graduate may draw, depending on his aptitudes and interests. He may be assigned to any naval air station, within or outside the continental United States, and serve as the medical officer on various phases of pilot training. He may be sent to a lighter-than-air station. He may join a fleet air wing of patrol bomber aircraft, based either ashore or on a seaplane tender. The Navy has developed massive and complex equipment for advanced research in the field of acceleration as plane speeds reach and pass the speed of sound. If the graduate has special talents in that direction, he may be put on one of the Navy's research or development projects. These projects may involve investigation of acceleration forces tested in a centrifuge. may study physiological changes at high altitude and extreme cold. Aircraft lighting and night vision in an experimental laboratory. He may develop improvements in personal equipment, such as the immersion suit. Or take part in a dozen other vital studies, many of them confidential and secret. But the most typical duty the new flight surgeon can look forward to is assignment to an operational air group. This graduate draws his first duty at Marine Corps Air Station, Cherry Point. His squadron is in combat conditioning training, being activated to go aboard a carrier. The flight surgeon will live and work with the men of the squadron and will come to know them more intimately than most doctors can know their patients.
I'd like to present your new flight surgeon, Dr. Sewell. You please step forward and introduce yourselves.
Lieutenant Manning. Lieutenant Manning. Lieutenant Trout. Lieutenant Trout.
First of all his duties is the medical care of his squadron. Scarcely less important is the business of indoctrinating every pilot with what he has to know to maintain health and efficiency in his chosen profession. This includes demonstrations of survival gear, such as the solar still for making seawater drinkable. It means the careful testing of every new man in the group under conditions of high altitude. It means checking and rechecking airborne oxygen equipment to make sure that all proper maintenance procedures are being carried out. For no matter how thoroughly checked out a pilot may be on the use of his oxygen mask, his knowledge will do him little good if a defective regulator should happen to quit at 35,000 feet. The pressure-breathing oxygen mask requires close inspection and very precise fitting if it is to serve its purpose. This is one department in which the flight surgeon must be prepared to become a real authority. And speaking of indoctrination, it isn't always as simple as it might appear.
You want me to tell you the truth, Doc?
Why, Whitey, I thought you always told the truth.
Well, below 12,000 feet, that thing's a pain. Unless I'm going a heck of a lot higher, I ain't going to wear it. And I'm still here.
Sure, Whitey. And we hope you stay around. Above 10,000 feet, depending upon how long you stay there. Without supplemental oxygen, you're going to show symptoms of a low-grade chronic anoxia.
Ah, go on. You sawbones always exaggerate.
Oh, now look, you guys know this stuff, but sometimes you forget. 2 hours at 12,000 feet, and you're going to suffer fatigue, headaches, possible drowsiness, and possible impaired judgment. You do that at night, and you'll be losing 50% of your night vision. And if the weather turns sour, and you have to climb over it without an oxygen mask, boy, you're in trouble.
That 50% stuff on the level, Doc?
Look, Whitey, the next time I get you into a low-pressure chamber, I'll prove it to you.
Things I never knew till now.
According to availability, the flight surgeon may be assigned the care of dependents as a regular part of his clinical work. Infirmary duty may comprise as much as 50% of his shoreside activities.
Wish we'd called you last night, Doc.
Well, what's up, Steve?
Bobby was running a fever. This morning his face is all broken out.
Excuse me a minute. This is Dr. Sewell. Oh, yeah, Betty. Yeah, Steve just told me about it. What do they look like? Oh? Small blisters? I'll stop by. Not at all, Betty. Right.
At 11:30 last night, he had a fever of 101.
Steve, don't worry about it. Sounds to me like, well, like he's got a case of chicken pox. I'll take a look at him.
Thanks, Doc.
Yes, Lorraine. Was she playing with Bobby? I'm afraid so. No, there's no vaccination against chickenpox. Sure. I'll check with you later. No, Dottie, there's no vaccination for it. Well, let's watch him. I'll stay in touch. Right.
In his infirmary practice, the flight surgeon will find facilities equal to any he is likely to encounter in civilian medicine. Well-stocked pharmacies, thoroughly equipped laboratories, he will be associated with other flight surgeons, both senior and junior in experience. Depending, of course, on what's needed at the moment, this type of assignment offers to each doctor a working acquaintance with most of the medical specialties. Psychogenic disturbances may be minor. Some may be more difficult to handle and require hospitalization. Another pilot shows an unusual syndrome, occasional attacks of giant urticaria and angioneurotic edema. A careful history discloses that such attacks had occurred only before some important test: high school graduation exams, ground school finals, first solo, carrier qual. Today's attack comes just 48 hours before he is to qualify for the first time in jets. Evidently a reaction to subconscious anxiety brought on by emotional stress. The doctor must assure him that anxiety is as legitimate a crippling agent as a broken leg. And more important, that there's no reason to fear he won't make the grade. And all the time, though it doesn't appear on any curriculum, each flight is learning something fundamental to his success. He's getting to know aviators, learning what's on their minds, what makes each one tick. There isn't any formula for this branch of study, just participation in all kinds of activity. prolonged association, and close, sympathetic observation. And several hundred hours of hangar flying. But it plays a vital role in the management of certain practical problems.
Oh, no. Come on in, Ski.
Mother-in-law called yet, Doc?
No. For the love of Mike Bukowski, sit down and relax. Who's having this baby? You or Dolly?
Oh, I'm not nervous. I was just wondering, I mean, she's due any time now, and as a matter of fact, she's due on the 29th.
Ski, I don't think you ought to go up there today. I think we better ground you.
For what?
It's a very common ailment, especially among new fathers. We call it pre-labor anxiety, and in aviators, it's just no good.
Do you really think she's going to be all right, Doc?
Ski, you may not realize this, but everybody you know has been born.
Then, as it will to most all who wear the Navy wings, the day comes when the squadron and its flight surgeon are assigned to carrier duty. Carriers of the fleet vary in size and in mission. Their medical facilities are necessarily compact, but they are modern and efficient. Here is one of the wards in sickbay of a CVB, able to accommodate up to 60 patients comfortably for complaints ranging from a head cold to the severest battle casualty. This traction bed is aboard a CV, the USS Princeton in Korean waters. The senior flight surgeon shares the medical responsibility for the ship and for the air group aboard with two other flight surgeons. In emergency, the hospital facilities of the carrier are available also to other ships. The flight surgeon may bring back a patient by helicopter and take him direct to sickbay. All flying personnel must be familiar with this rescue gear. The flight surgeon's care for the health and safety of his men extends to continued training in the use of such personal equipment as the G-suit. And the oxygen mask, which must fit tight and test tight every time. Medicine has yet to invent a substitute for human contact, for the rapport between the physician and those in his care. The flight surgeon has built up this rapport in times of relaxation and in times of duty. There are day-to-day professional duties with emphasis on preventive medicine. General quarters or an emergency may bring the medical corpsman and the flight surgeon on the double at any hour. Operations are performed as necessary. As in every military activity, combat is the final test. Now the ever-present question of flight risk becomes crucial. Now every man grounded means extra missions, extra strain on others still flying, more fatigue to be dealt with. Fatigue with its insidious danger to the flying personnel. This is where the confidence in the flight surgeon, built up in the long months of close association, will show results. Every day, the flight surgeon becomes a better judge of flight proficiency. Automatically, he evaluates performance. With few exceptions, every launch, every recovery is made under his watchful eye. The flight surgeon is an essential member of that highly organized, hard-hitting team, the air arm of the United States Navy.